What if the secret to true freedom isn't adding more to your life, but learning what you can afford to completely ignore? What if peace doesn't come from what you control, but from what you release? That answer may completely change your relationship with stress, anxiety, and success, and we'll get to it together at the end of this video. In today's world, we are buried under an avalanche of information, opinions, expectations, and distractions. Every moment, someone is telling you what to care about. Notifications buzz, news headlines scream, social media feeds pull you in 1,000 directions. Everyone seems to demand a reaction, and the more you react, the more exhausted you become. You're overwhelmed not because life is too heavy, but because you're carrying things that were never yours to hold. The Stoics knew that attention is power, and they guarded it like treasure. They believed that the mind must be trained, not just to focus, but to ignore, not just to engage, but to filter, because not everything deserves a response. Not every insult deserves your energy. Not every invitation to drama needs to be accepted. Some things are simply noise, and your ability to rise depends on your willingness to let that noise pass through you without touching your core. It begins with understanding that your time, your energy, and your emotional attention are your most valuable assets. Most people give them away freely, unconsciously, to anything that pulls at their emotions. A stranger's opinion, a rude comment, a trend, a fear. But when you give something your attention, you give it your power. You give it space in your mind. You allow it to influence your state of being. The Stoic sees this as the ultimate vulnerability, not being attacked by others, but being manipulated by what you choose to focus on. You can't control what happens in the world, but you can control how much of it you allow to shape your inner state. If someone offends you, it doesn't matter unless you decide that it does. If something doesn't go your way, it isn't a crisis unless you make it one. You are not obligated to have an opinion on everything. You are not required to respond to every voice. The Stoic draws clear boundaries, not just around their time, but around their mind. This kind of mental discipline doesn't come from weakness. It comes from strength. It's easy to react. It's easy to lash out, to defend, to get involved. But the one who can observe without absorbing has reached a higher level of self-mastery. When someone speaks ill of them, they don't rush to explain. When chaos erupts, they don't immediately dive in. They pause. They reflect. They ask, is this worth my peace? Is this helping my mission? Is this leading me toward wisdom or away from it? The truth is, most things are distractions, even well-meaning things, even urgent things. And unless you decide what truly matters to you, the world will decide for you. It will pull you into cycles of reaction, addiction, comparison, and outrage. But the Stoic rejects all of that. They don't live by default. They live by design. They choose what to care about. And just as importantly, they choose what to ignore. Ignoring doesn't mean being cold. It doesn't mean shutting down emotionally or becoming detached from life. It means being selective, strategic, present. It means understanding that every reaction has a cost. That every time you give energy to what doesn't matter, you are robbing energy from what does. And over time, those small decisions shape your character, your peace, and your future. Ask yourself, what are you carrying right now that's not yours? Whose judgment are you still trying to prove wrong? What past conversation are you still replaying in your head? What fear are you feeding every time you check your phone? These are chains you've accepted, but they can be broken. And breaking them doesn't require a dramatic act. It begins with silence, with stillness, with a decision to stop giving weight to things that bring no value to your life. The Stoics practice this daily. They examine their thoughts. They question their assumptions. They asked, is this within my control? If the answer was no, they let it go. Because worrying about what you cannot change is not preparation, it's torture. Complaining about what you cannot control is not honesty, it's surrender. And being offended by every little thing isn't strength, it's emotional slavery. The strongest person is not the one who reacts quickly. It's the one who doesn't react when reaction isn't necessary. It's the one who can hear criticism and still remain calm, who can be misunderstood and still remain kind, who can face pressure and still remain focused. That level of strength doesn't come from shouting louder. It comes from learning the art of inner silence, the ability to hear the world and choose what to let in. That's the secret to emotional freedom. It's not in controlling others, but in controlling what reaches you. It's not in fighting everything, but in choosing your battles. And sometimes, the greatest victory is walking away, quietly, confidently, without needing to prove anything to anyone. Because the one who knows their worth doesn't seek validation. They live it. Now let's return to the question we asked at the beginning. What if the secret to true freedom isn't adding more, but learning what to ignore? The answer is, it absolutely is. Freedom isn't found in having more options, more opinions, more engagement. It's found in the quiet confidence to say, "This doesn't deserve me." It's found in the strength to stay calm in the storm, to focus on what matters, and to release the rest. The Stoic doesn't carry the weight of the world. They carry only what they've chosen. And that choice is everything. Because what you carry shapes how you walk, how you think, how you live. So if you want to rise, if you want to be free, start here. Stop giving your attention to what drains you. Let go of what you cannot control. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. And in that silence, you'll discover that true power is not in the noise of reaction, but in the discipline of choosing what not to care about.